Boom shakalaka, this insane Bitcoin signal will flash any second. Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, this insane Bitcoin signal will flash any second. Before we get into it, like the video, join us on Twitter through Crypto Love, and of course subscribe to the OG Bitcoin Crypto YouTube channel, making daily videos longer than anybody else. Now today, Fear and Greed Index website is not working, so we'll start with the overall market. Up 3%, Bitcoin 87,059, Ethereum 2178, and XRP 242. Now if we take a look, Bitcoin is lined up for another wedge set to break out by the middle of March, the Ides of March. Now there's ample evidence for price to go back up to 108,000, ample evidence for price to go down to 69,000. Based on what we've seen previously from Bitcoin from the previous top, could be headed down towards this $69,000 if we would see the same type of thing repeat based on a time-based pattern. That would put us right down there towards the end or middle of April. So we'll kind of have to see how things play out over the next few days. But as of right now, the bull run remains intact according to the spent output profit ratio chart right here. Still bull market as of right now. However, bulls have 28 days left in the quarter to save this signal from confirming. That would be a bearish signal on the quarterly candles, suggesting that the top is already in and it's nothing from here except for a terrible bear market for the next year or two. And there is the possibility, I mean, if we take a look back in 2021, after Bitcoin bounced off the 200-day moving average, got rejected by the 50-day and 100-day moving averages, and then continued downwards. That does kind of look similar to what we saw happen just over the past couple days, with price bouncing off the 200-day, coming up, getting rejected by the 50 and 100-day moving averages that were not here, and maybe just going to continue in a downward direction. We'll have to see how that turns out over the next days. But if we take a look at the weekly candles, Bitcoin just printed the largest downside wick ever on a weekly candle, $16,000 weekly wick. Holy freaking cow, that beat the previous record by double. This candle printed the same deviation we've seen many times before, higher moves in this cycle. So it could just be that this is a consolidation before a higher move for Bitcoin. Could be a little bit of manipulation, shaking the trees before the market moves upwards, because why would you want the leveraged longs to win anything? Just take all their money and then the price will go up. It does appear like, depending upon what chart you look at, some look very bearish, but some look very bullish. Like this global business cycle looks very similar to what we've seen previously, where we're just at the beginning, not at the top like we were looking at in, where is the chart? This chart, not at the top, but at the absolute bottom. I mean, it's quite confusing. Some charts say absolute top, some charts say absolute bottom, and some charts like the Pi cycle top just have never crossed. And so what the heck is going on? Well, when we take a look historically in a bull run, which again, you have to reference the first chart we were just looking at. We are still technically in a bull run. Historically, when the daily RSI drops below 30, Bitcoin tends to rebound. Right now it's at 24. So we would tend towards rebounding. Also, if we take a look that after there are price drops, what happens next? Historically, positive gain 55% of the time for 20% gains, negative 45% of the time for 10% losses, which means that the implied price in 2 months would be somewhere between $77,000 and $101,000. And it's like, well, no wonder we've been in that same position for freaking ever, where the price just continues going sideways. But here is a signal that might just send Bitcoin a little bit higher. Global liquidity on the rise again. Bitcoin historically has been correlated to it. Since July, however, Bitcoin appears to be lagging behind, which could signal a unique buying opportunity, meaning that as liquidity is increasing, Bitcoin will eventually catch up with that liquidity. Now, not only that, but there also appears to be a nice fractal here between gold and Bitcoin. Now, it's a 3-year on Bitcoin, a 12-year on gold, but they look very, very similar. And if you'll notice here, Bitcoin has started to break down. Now, if gold is a fractal of this, gold would then break down. But then in its own inception-like way. Whenever gold stops gaining, that's when Bitcoin starts gaining. So this drop in Bitcoin could just be a fake out for gold to break down so that Bitcoin can actually break up. I know, right? I told you it was inception-like. Now, also in a bull market, historically, whenever Bitcoin realizes these levels, negative 14% on the on-chain trader realized price and profit loss margin, guess what? Every single time it rebounds. So Bitcoin is due for a rebound based on all the bull market charts we have. Not only that, but coming into the best time based on halving, not based on price gains, but based on the halving, we have the best time coming yet. The real profit zones have not even been entered yet. It may just be time for a little bit of patience because not many people own Bitcoin yet, only 3%. Which kind of boggles my mind, but I guess 3% of people own Bitcoin. Now, this is the same as online banking in 1996, the internet in 1990, social media in 2005. All of these things were terrible back then, and Bitcoin is back then. And as Bitcoin gains adoption, price goes up because there's a fixed supply. So this would mean that price would probably go up in some inordinate degree. But that's all for this episode. If you enjoyed it, like the video. I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
Boom. Shakalaka.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.